Good morning, evening, or afternoon, everybody. It's Kaghoe coming at you with another video. So today I'm going to be going over some of the best Phase 5 preparation tips so that you guys can, do a lot of pre-work now. Well, we have probably about around a month before Phase 5 actually launches. And you can, be ahead, get the extra foot. And these are just some things that I have learned from looking at the PTR, as well as just general knowledge from doing BWL and ZG in Classic 2019. But before we get into the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Everything you guys do helps my channel grow, helps me get discovered, and helps me help as many people as possible, which is the entire point of my channel. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So I had a video the other week that was talking about tarnish undermine reels and a huge decision that the dev team decided to make, and they decided to put Tier 2 bracers on the tarnished undermine reel vendor. So I am over here on the PTR right now, and we are going to the undermine reel vendor here in Booty Bay. And as you can see, the Tier 2 bracers are in fact on this undermine reel vendor, and it costs 125 tarnished undermine reels. What's very important to notice is that the unique 100 is still there, so essentially you can't actually buy them yet. I'd imagine they're either going to raise the cap or lower the price of these, but this makes one of the best tips for you guys to do is, regardless of what they do with it, make sure you have 100 tarnish undermine reels going into Phase 5, because Tier 2 bracers are probably going to be an upgrade for whatever gear set you're using, or there's a way to work them in to be an upgrade, as well as you will help your raid team by being 1 of 8 or 1 of 6 or whatever tier pieces you might need. I can tell you for mage it's going to be something I'm going after right away, because right now we either use our 2 set or something that we can definitely break for that extra damage boost. So I'll be getting them for sure, and I'll be doing it on both my characters. So and the thing about doing this now is you don't have to grind, you don't have to do a world tour within 2 days. You could literally sit there and from right now watching this video do Scholomance every single day for 2 weeks, and you'll be at 100. So it's not too big of a deal to go out there and get that, but it is something that I wanted to bring to your guys' attention. Now, the next thing that I want to discuss is, unfortunately, I do not have the reputation to go show you guys these on the PTR, but one of the biggest things that you guys can do is look at the crafting for ZG and pick apart these recipes. So some of the best things that are coming to that are going to be Bloodvine, and I'm using Bloodvine as an example here because it is really good traditionally for casters because it's how they get hit. So you can look for these materials such as Mooncloth, Powerful Mojos, Bolts of Runecloth, Ironweb, Spider Silk. The big one is obviously going to be the Bloodvine, which only comes from ZG. So having someone be an herbalist or just having the ability to get in there and get those Bloodvines so you can make it for your casters is very, very important. So I would highly recommend that the very least, bare minimum, is that you get a level 60 with herbalism to the point that they can pick those blood vines, and then your raid clears the dungeon and then you can go in there and pick it. So stuff like that becomes very valuable, and it's something that you might not be thinking about. And I'm sure Bloodvine does drop off the mobs in there as well. However, it is also an herb that spawns in there that you can pick. So, and a lot of people definitely have dropped their gathering professions here in SOD. So you can make a penny just by literally using the lockouts you did and going to pick that Bloodvine in that manner. Now, the next thing is going to be the Onyxia Scale Cloak. Now, everyone is going to need this to do BWL. The breath is very lethal and it will one-shot you. The process is to get a tailor that gets the Cindercloth Cloak recipe, which is 5 bolts of Runecloth, an Essence of Fire, and a Rune Thread. And then that's pretty easy to make. And then the recipe is the hard part, which drops in the Searing Gorge. And then you are going to then go to a leatherworker to make the Onyxia Scale Cloak, which takes a scale from Onyxia, which you have to skin from her, and it takes a Cindercloth cloak. So this is a very nice cloak to have. If you do not already have that, I would seek out some people to get this made and get it prepared for you. Otherwise, you know, you're going to be scrambling and you'll have to pay a very, very pretty penny when Phase 5 launches to get your cloak, because, you know, everyone likes to hike those prices up. So now's definitely the time to buy, in my opinion. So the next tip is, since the PTR is up, take advantage of it, especially if you are someone that has never done ZG or BWL. Obviously, SOD has its own unique spins to it, but it is still valuable core base mechanics, right? Getting in there and seeing ZG, seeing BWL, seeing the zones, seeing the bosses, that experience is invaluable, and I think that is the largest learning curve when we're talking about Classic and how much you gotta grind and learn. Like, it's just getting exposed to the areas, the mechanics, the bosses. So I would highly recommend, if you're someone who's looking forward to raiding, get in there, test ZG, test BWL for 2 reasons: to learn, and you provide the dev team with some very valuable information so they can properly scale the raid, so it's not a bloodbath like we saw with like Sunken Temple, where it was super overtuned and people couldn't even get world first. Like, world first retail raiders were trying to do that and they couldn't even kill the boss. That's how much HP it was. So it was incredibly overtuned. And obviously Blizzard did make quick changes to that, but to avoid ZG and BWL doing that, PTR testing is really good to stop that stuff from happening. The next thing is consumables. Pretty much the same consumables as Molten Core is what you're going to be using in these dungeons. Things that are additional is going to be in Blackwing Lair. You can use Greater Shadow Protection Potions, as well as everyone can use Free Action Potions. They help a lot. I think you can use Free Action Potions to go through the Suppression Room, if I remember right. I'm not sure. I think it was like that and they changed it or something, but that is a strategy that can be utilized. It is something to consider, but for the most part, all your consumables are pretty much the same as Molten Core. Maybe a few nut protections and some niche usage of like Restopause, Free Action Potions can be applied, but nothing too crazy. And then finally, this one is something that I noticed, and it's really interesting, and I'm going to share this little fun theory with you guys before we end the video. So if we take a look here, and I'm going to the Classic Atlas loot to show you this, and we'll just take a look at Nefarian, an example. I want you to look at the resist on these robes. So here in normal Classic, the Netherwing robes have fire resist and nature resist. The shoulders have just fire resist. The gloves have shadow resist on them. The boots have just fire res. The belt has shadow res on it. And the bindings have no resistance on it. We can go to Molten Core to look at Ragnaros to see the pants, which have arcane and fire res on them. And then we can go to Onyxia and see the helm, which has shadow and frost resist on it. And so now I'm going to take you guys back over to the PTR to show you a little fun thing. And this is something that has me like wondering what's gonna happen. So we look here, and they have changed this to nature and frost res. They have changed the shoulders to frost res. They have changed the robes to nature and frost res. The bindings still have absolutely nothing on them. The gloves are now just nature res. The belt is frost res. The legs are nature and frost res. And the boots are nature res, which gives me 50-50 with absolutely nothing on but the full tier 2 set. So what I'm thinking is we might possibly see something to do with nature res with AQ, or frost res with Naxxramas, or the new super dungeons that have been, you know, sort of talked about, leaked, looked at in the data mining could require some resistance. So just something to keep in mind if you find those 20 nature res rings, or those 20 frost res rings, or just any BOE that has that stuff on there. Might be something to hang on to and prep that way. But that's just a little theory. I have absolutely no confirmation in any regard. It could be them just putting it up there for fun, as well as so you can bring your tier 2 gear into AQ and Nax, because AQ and Nax, they have fights where you do need those reses. So like for Viscidus and AQ, you want 200 nature res regardless if there's a mechanic like heat. And for Naxxramas, it is a frost check for Saffron. Very similar with that. So there are reasons to have that FR on aside from a heat system. So just something I wanted to share with you guys and, maybe theorize, because it's really cool to notice stuff like that. It's just those small changes that no one really talks about that could be them building to something greater. But anyway, I truly hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, I'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Hey you. Yes you. Are you still there? Well, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this entire video and making it to the end here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out the other videos about World of Warcraft listed in these playlists down below. And thank you again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.